emotional regulation. Strategies and techniques for managing and regulating emotions to make informed decisions and foster positive relationships. This is a very important topic to discuss because emotion can take over us really, really quickly, and it can damage more than it can construct. I keep talking about emotions as most emotions being quick and destructive and feelings being slower and constructive. So that's my take on it. And tonight we're going to talk about a few techniques and few exercises. We have like 7 on the list right here on how to manage your emotions, even the good emotions, because even the good emotion may take over you. And not a lot of people are aware that sometimes when we are a bit happy, a little bit too happy, we might annoy other people around us. That is very sad, if you ask me, because everybody wants to be happy and we should be happy. But we want to have that empathy skill and build on the empathy skill to make sure we are not annoying other people around us. Well, yeah, they should grow up and smell the roses. Yes, I agree. But we don't know what they're going through. So if if someone may seem as if they might be annoyed by our enthusiasm and exuberance and happiness and us expressing it all, we might want to tone it down a little bit. Yeah. That's that for the positive emotion, to manage positive emotion. Other than that, spread your joy and your love and all of the gratitude and all of the positive emotion. We're gonna do the positive portfolio a little bit later, but right now let's talk about the negative emotions. Why? Because we have more negative emotions than we have positive emotions. Somehow, when humans were made, I don't know who decided to make humans, because it's not before humans made humans. So when humans were architected, they were architected with about 4 or 6 basic emotions that not influence, but it influences your amygdala and your emotional response, your emotional arousal, things like that. But in within those 4 or 6 basic emotions, 75% of them, 75 are negative emotions, and only 25% are positive emotions. So that's the main reason we have to constantly seek to not toxic positivity now, but it's good to strive to and train more positive emotions as much as possible, but not to the extent of annoying others, because we don't want to annoy others. We want to be considerate of other people going through what they're going through in that particular moment. All right. So some of the well-known strategies for managing unpleasant emotions are deep breathing exercises, and there are a few techniques. We talked about it before. Feelfulness practices. My feelfulness practices will definitely have you manage your emotion and regulate your emotion in no time. Cognitive and that is a connection issue. I hope it got back. All right, the message went out. And journaling, it's a good idea. Seeking social support, like right now we're providing social support, taking breaks for taking care of yourself, and conflict resolution skills. So let's talk about deep breathing exercises. Deep breathing exercises, especially when you're in the middle of technology. I'm in the middle of a lot of technology, and sometimes things just don't happen as you click on them. They say click here to get this result, and then you click there, and then either nothing happens or you get a different result. Now, that's not right. So, what do you do then? Because it causes a negative emotion. So, take a slow, deep breath to calm the nervous system, because through conscious breathing, we get to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. And there are different breathing styles. Count to 3, breathe in counting to 3, and then breathe out counting to 5. Or breathe in at 1 and breathe out at 2, 1 and 2, and then go in a square, and then all kinds of different kind of geometry. But in the moment, up until you remember which exercise you should exercise in the moment, you can just go ahead and take a deep breath. And you've probably seen movies, several movies, where someone may seem to be in a panic attack, and they are given a paper bag to breathe in. Yes, because in breathing in that paper bag, in the case of a panic attack, it helps stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you calm down. Your emotional arousal will lower, and you want to lower your emotional arousal at that time. Randy, do you want to add something about deep breathing exercises?
One that I have used a lot and that I'm familiar with, there's hundreds and hundreds of them, but one that's easy to remember. There's two things about it. One is called squared breathing, and squared breathing is breathing in through your nostrils for 4 seconds, holding it for 4 seconds, exhaling through your mouth for 4 seconds, and waiting for 4 seconds. It's squared breathing, 4-4-4-4. The thing that I learned about these breathing exercises is most people, it does not work for them. If it doesn't work, it's because they're doing them for about 30 seconds, a minute. To be really effective, that type of breathing has to be done for 3 minutes or more. And 3 minutes can be a long time. It can feel like a long time. So just if anybody wants to practice that, if they feel like they're getting excited about something, or just want to practice and see how it feels, get a watch, or something, and make sure that it goes for 3 minutes. Because my tendency when I would do it, I'd do it maybe 30, 45 seconds. And that's just not enough to activate the, it actually is the real popular word in trauma circles and in this kind of thinking is the vagal, VAGAL, the vagal nerve theory. That's real hot. And there's all kinds of workshops that people can take to learn about it. But that activates that vagal nerve in our body, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of our body. And I'm not a scientist. I hate science. I failed. My first class in college was science, and I failed it. And it activates that part of our body that says it's okay, things are all right, are safe, things are okay, no need to worry, no need to be in a fight mode. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Very good, very good. So, so
I can add one other thing on there too, if you want,
yes,
Carmen.
go ahead, go ahead.
Uh, that helps with this exercise. Remember, there's hundreds of different types of things, but squared breathing is easy to remember. The second thing is called an anchor. When we are living our daily lives and we're floating on the boat of consciousness, think of consciousness as sailing on a boat on the water on an ocean. All kinds of currents pushing us one way or the other. And if we get upset about something, that current can be very strong and it will start taking us off course. So another way to think about this is coming up with an anchor that stops our thoughts and our feelings and our bodies from escalating, getting worse. So an anchor is something that a person does that reminds them to do their squared breathing. And one of the ones that I was taught was making little circles with your hands. Get that right. And closing my eyes and thinking of breathing through these circles in the squared breathing. It comes in through my hands and I hold it for 4 seconds. And when I exhale for 4 seconds, I'm exhaling through my toes, I'm keeping my mouth open, but all the anxiety and feelings are going out through my toes. So it's breathing in, not literally, of course, but breathing in through these circles, and it stops the body from getting really upset. It's used in trauma treatment when people are, they're talking about difficult memory, and it starts to get worse and worse as they talk about it. Then the therapist can say, okay, let's use your anchor. Make the circles with your hands. Start breathing. And again, this goes on for 3, 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes. So, yeah, that's just another technique it's used by professionals, but it's available for anybody.
Yes, that's a very good technique. And people that meditate, that's how you begin a meditation. You follow your breathing. You just have your attention to your breathing, and you follow the rise of the chest and the fall of the chest as you inhale and exhale. So that's also a very good technique. And you're right, Randy, it could be boring, but in a heat of the moment, it's not going to be boring, and you need to be grounded in the present moment so you can take appropriate action and make proper decisions. Because I never recommend taking decisions when you are so hyped with all of this negative emotions. It's not healthy whatsoever.
And when you boil it down to it, all we have is right now. The past is gone. The future is not here yet. All we have this is the dime store Eckhart Tolle discussion. This is discount as Eckhart Tolle. But all we have is right now, and what we have right now is our breathing. That's all we have. That's what we can control, and that's what we have. And that brings us to right now, which is exactly where we are. We're nowhere else. And so that's why you're focusing so much, Carmen. Your focus is on so much on breathing and breath exercises and all, because it does what's called ground. It reminds our mind, okay, the past is gone. Who knows what will happen in the future? I just myself, just this week, I knew that I was going to have a conversation with somebody, and it was making me very anxious thinking about it, because I knew they wanted me to make a trip to go see them. I knew I couldn't. Anyway, I was there, and it never even came up. But those thoughts that were there were in the future, and I forgot that I'm not in the future. I forgot that I'm right here, right in the present, right now. That's all. That's really all we have. So there's your discount totally lecture for the day.
Yes, you are correct. All we have is the present moment, and we are familiar with being in a moment and being in your body. And the way I start every coaching session and every hypnosis session is to let's just take a few breaths. So we just breathe a breath or 2 or 3 breaths, and then we begin. Because so much happens in you taking your attention, allocating your attention to that breathing, right? Because when you have so many emotions in your body, you want to bring your attention in your breathing, and then you will be able to manage these emotions much better. So you can count 1 to inhale and 2 to exhale, and continue to count it this way, and eventually your count is going to be slower and slower. Or you can count to 3 on an inhale and count to 5 on an exhale. Or you can do the square breathing. You breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in, you breathe out, and do the square breathing. Then you can do the breathing through the circles. Just imagine you have some circles there, and you breathe through those circles. And then if you happen to have a straw, to breathe through the straw, that is going to help you tremendously to breathe through it to help your own parasympathetic nervous system, and to not overload your amygdala, because the main function of the amygdala is to defend you when your life is in danger. But our life is not in danger when we have emotions rush over all the time. Like with technology, I'm dealing with so much technology, and I'm just sitting in a chair with technology. My life is not in danger, but I'm running through emotions with all of these apps and programs that I need to figure out and have them work the way they should work. All right. Then number 2, we can definitely do some feelfulness practices. So with the feelfulness practice, you start with the breathing, and it's not about you feeling your emotion. You're going to feel your emotion regardless, but you want to begin with mindfulness, as in to not judge the emotions that you're having. Once you start breathing, then you realize that there's nothing to judge, there's everything to manage, and make it happen the best way that you can make it happen in that moment. Not a judgment, just be curious, because you're going to have the same emotion differently, at different intensity, and just be curious about it. What intensity is this emotion? I was like, oh, it's interesting. I'm having an emotion. So no judgment of that, and observing it with detachment. It's a very specific skill that I teach in feelfulness, the detached observation skill. It is a powerful skill. But up until you get to learn this feelfulness techniques, the detached observation skill, you can imagine a flower. This is called the flower technique. You can imagine a flower, and you can ask the flower to collect that emotion from your body and remove the emotion from your body. And the most fascinating things happen. I've been teaching this technique for how many years, and it is still amazing how well it works. Even for me, I've been using this flower technique for how many years? I still use it, and it is it's mind-boggling. It works. So if it works and you're not so emotionally aroused, then by all means use it, feel good, help others, do what needs to be done in the particular moment. All right? And then we have cognitive refraining. Cognitive refraining involves identifying and challenging negative or distortion thoughts and replacing them with more positive and rational ones. The very first positive and rational thought that you can replace, you can reframe with is, I'm breathing pretty good. I am capable of breathing in and breathing out. I am breathing. And once your emotional arousal has decreased a little bit, then you can begin to reframe these negative thoughts, because those people that can regulate their emotions and make informed decisions based on a balanced perspective are very good at reframing their negative thoughts. And number two, easiest reframe of your negative thoughts is that the past is gone and the future is not here, and I am breathing right here in the present moment. There's more complicated ones to do, of course, but this is something basic and something easy and simple. You want to add something, Randy?
If anybody's interested in the cognitive reframing that you're referring to, Carmen, there's simple Google search, and there's all types of list of cognitive distortions that you're referring to that need to be rethought. Basically, is what happens. Example: I can't handle this. I can't tolerate this. This is intolerable. The way that Carmen's suggesting to reframe it's technical word for changing it. Well, what do you change it to? If I'm thinking I can't handle this, well, and what Carmen is also saying is that those thoughts aren't always conscious. They may be unconscious, meaning that you feel overwhelmed. Why do you feel that way? Because I can't. This is not fair, and I can't handle it. Well, if you want to change, I can't handle it. What do you change it to? One possibility, it's not the answer, but one possibility is, for instance, I hate this. I'm miserable. It's going to make my life miserable, but I'll get through it. It won't kill me. When I used to do therapy, I would tell my clients, when we think about it, and that's using your mind in this regard, because what Carmen's taught already is to calm the body down so we could think instead of panicking. So if we're thinking and we really think about it, then we come to the realization that very few things are going to kill us ultimately. I mean, something will, of course, but in the big scheme of life, getting fired is not something that was going to literally kill us. And I'm speaking from experience. I've been fired before, and twice, and once when I was 24 and once when I was 60. And that was many years ago. But
and you're alive.
I'm alive. I lived through it. I hated it. It was difficult, but ultimately, and it's cliche, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me in this portion of my life. It was the best thing that ever happened. So, but we change our thinking. So if you want to go online and see, there's all kinds of cognitive distortions that we tell ourselves that Karma's referring to, and to reframing them. But to reframe them, you have to first make yourself aware of what they are. And one other thing I'll add now that I'll stop talking is that one of the little shortcuts that I used was thinking of things as should, must, have to, ought to. Should, must, have to, ought to. And if you're feeling miserable about something, it's a good chance that you're thinking something somewhere that uses those words. Should, have to, must, ought to. And there's very few things in our lives that we have to do. We have to breathe, we have to eat, we have to drink water, we have to sleep, we have to go to the bathroom. What else? Do we have to be treated fairly every day? Well, no, we should be. Should we be? I don't know. Anyway, so there's a lot of things that we could, a lot of cognitive reframing online and all this stuff that can be very useful.
Yes, that's a very good point. Then we move on to number 4. Number 4 is journaling. You can write down your emotions and your thoughts and your experiences, and you can write. And nowadays, with all of the smartphone and those the handheld devices, you can voice it. And you can, when you talk to your typewriter, you can voice it in any tone you want. Not when you talk to other people. No.
If you're talking to a typewriter, you're probably hallucinating because
no, this kind of typewriter.
Okay.
Yeah, this electronic typewriter. So you can voice how you feel, and if you want to write it by hand, by all means, write it by hand, because this provides you with an experience of release. And if you write it down and what you're feeling, why you're feeling that intensely, what bothered you, and allow yourself to make all kinds of spelling errors, then you can come back in an hour or a day and you laugh at it. Yeah. How many movies have we watched where people were angry, were so angry, they were destroying things, and we're laughing at it? Well, it's not a laughing matter, but it could be if you reframe it, right? So go ahead and write it down, because then it gives you an outlet for self-expression. It gives you an outlet for reflection. It gives you opportunity to smile, not right away, but a little afterwards. It gives you an opportunity to smile. And this will help you gain clarity and develop insights that contribute to making informed decision making. You don't want to make decision when you're upset. Absolutely not. No. And then improve relationships, because how many relationships are getting broken just due to emotional arousal? A lot, and some very important relationship. We damage the relationships when we are upset and we don't like what we're feeling, and then we blame what we're feeling on the other person, and it doesn't benefit you to blame it on the other person. It's just it doesn't. So you don't want to destroy all of your relationships, but some of them you can say goodbye to. Those toxic relationships, I can say, okay, thank you very much, bye-bye, but not all of them. You want to add something, Randy?
No, I think that explains it well. There's a lot, again, there's a lot online about journaling, so yeah.
Okay, very good. Then number 5 is seeking social support. Well, nowadays with social media, and there are like my Facebook group, you can talk about your emotions all you want. If someone is not going to be nice about it, they're not going to be part of the group. That's the purpose of the group, to talk about anything that you can make easier. And managing your emotion, there's a lot to create ease in managing your emotions. And that's one easy outlet. because sharing your emotions, you don't want to share your emotions with the wrong type of a people. Some people may understand, some people may not understand. Women are more likely to understand each other's emotion, and men are more likely to understand each other's emotion. And sometimes men have difficulties understanding women's emotions, and vice versa. So have someone that you trust that you can share your emotions with. With my coaching, for example, because through the coaching, I'm teaching so many skills that help, in addition to other things, helps manage emotions. I always advise my clients that when they're going through some portion of emotional arousal, to call me. And they figure, well, I don't want to call you because I don't want to pay for it. Well, don't worry about it. If I'm telling you to call me, if you're going through some emotional upheaval, call me and we will reframe the tools, because my clients, they have a lot of tools. What to think of, how to use the flower techniques. Then we have geometry, then we have the grounding cord, then we have so many other different techniques, which you can definitely find in my Creating Ease books, and you can find a workshop on my website from those Creating Ease practices, the thought feeling practices. But you do want to talk to someone that you are comfortable talking to about the emotions that you're having at those moments. You don't want to talk about those emotions with just anybody. If there's nobody there to talk to, maybe your puppy dog, maybe your kitty cat, and journaling, your electronic typewriter is definitely over there for you to type it. But I recommend you do not type someone's name on a send to email. No. Send it to yourself, and then later on you can edit all of the spelling mistakes, and who knows if you need to send it or not to someone. All right, it's normal to have emotions, but throwing the emotions on somebody else, that's not advisable. Then we can, number 6, we can take breaks and self-care. That is so the case for mothers. Mothers can't even go to the bathroom. How do they take a break? Especially with newborns and mothers and fathers as well, caretakers. You have to take a little bit of break. Now, there's all kinds of small breaks you can take, and engaging in self-care. But another exercise that I give my clients that you cannot argue with it, because it's doable, something very, very easy to do, in addition to all of the complicated techniques that I provide. When they feel very emotionally aroused, go to the bathroom. I always say, what do you do when you go to the bathroom? You think. So think these thoughts and down-regulate your emotion, because everything else you do in a bathroom is going to happen anyway. So use your thoughts in those couple of minutes and take a break and deflate, down-regulate, reframe, practice a tool, so many things, and it's going to help you. All right. And if you're alone at home, you might as well just go sing in a shower. Whatever you want to sing, you can sing your emotions or in a shower if you're home alone. Because you don't, remember, whatever you do with your emotional intensity, you do not want to throw it on other people. Other people are not responsible. You are responsible to manage your emotions. Life is tough. I have emotions too. Randy has emotions too. We all have emotions, but we're not children anymore, so we don't get to throw tantrums anymore. So the way adults throw tantrums is by throwing their emotions on other people and make other people be at fault for their emotions. And then number 7, we have conflict resolution skills. That is a topic of its own for an entire course making. Yeah, because when we have this emotionally aroused state, and we have all kinds of tingling through the body and all kinds of thoughts and all kinds of words we want to say to other people, that's because there is a conflict. There is a conflict of something. You are in conflict with something that's happening that you don't like, and you don't like your emotions, and who knows what else you don't like, and who knows what else you judge that this shouldn't be, or this should be some, or shoulda, coulda, woulda, or this is the way. Well, good luck with that. But when you have that intense emotion, there are so many things you can do about it. And sometimes it's going to take more than 30 seconds. It's going to take definitely more than 10 seconds and more than 30 seconds. And if you give it 3 minutes, it's going to feel like you're giving it a lot of time. Well, go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom, and you're going to multitask anyway, and then downregulate your emotion. And in those 3 minutes, you get to do so many other things to deflate all of those emotion, and then come out of that as like, it's not so bad. I guess I could have a conversation. If you need to have a conversation, then you will find that you could have a conversation in a calmer manner. Yeah, because what you don't want to do, you don't want to escalate somebody else's emotions in that moment. That's why we have movies for. Let them do it in the movies. It's just a movie. It's not real. So don't do what you do in a movie unless it's a I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. You wanna add something, Randy?
Yeah, the reason that the reason that we act like a child is because we're feeling like a child. And these techniques can help us gain an adult perspective on what feels like, and they're probably unresolved feelings if it's really triggering us, really upsetting us. If my spouse, if we have a fight because, to quote a Paul Simon song, they leave the window up and I like it down. If we have a fight over that, it's not about the window. It's about something else. It's triggering us in some way. And those triggers are emotions that go back to typically a long time ago. They're child emotions. Something is upsetting us in a very child, and we're taking a very much of a child perspective on it. It's overwhelming. It's miserable. It's terrible. So doing these exercises helps us see things as adults, basically. And it is hard. Yeah, it's a hard world to live in, but seeing things as an adult makes it easy to resolve conflict because we don't take it so personally and we don't get so attached. Now, that's not possible 100% of the time. It's possible more than what we probably feel like it is sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, you bring out a very good point. Yes, so we are not looking to eliminate the emotion because that is wishful thinking. Managing emotion doesn't mean eliminating emotion altogether. It means deflating them a little bit, down-regulating them a little bit. And how good of a job you're doing, don't measure that. Just measure that it's not as intense as it was 30 seconds ago, and it's less intense as it was a minute ago. That's all. And if the emotion continues to be the same intensity for the next 5 to 10 minutes, then your thoughts are going. This should be like this, that this what they did wrong. Look what they're doing. This is not right. You go into all kinds of judgment and evaluation. So cognitive reframing, change your thoughts. Yeah, because you're free to think those thoughts later on, the same thoughts under a different emotional intensity. So why think them now when you're so emotionally intense? Think them later when you deflate your emotional intensity. Nobody's going to stop your thoughts, but you have a considerable amount of control over your thoughts, and you do want to exercise that, because this is where your freedom, this is where your number one freedom relies and sits into your thoughts, the thoughts that you think. That is your freedom. Yeah, because you think so many thoughts, you think because other people told you that that's the right thing to think. Again, religion would be number one. This is the right way. You can think it differently because this is the right way, right? Thoughts are just thoughts. You can think a different thought. It's not that difficult. And then why would you want to stay in the argument because it makes you feel good? Well, no, it does make you feel good because you're emotionally aroused and there is an intensity to your emotion, so you're not feeling good. So you want to feel a little better, not eliminate. If you can eliminate the emotion, let me know how you do it, because I don't know, you can down-regulate it, right? You can transform it, you can shift it. Then you can choose your thoughts, put something positive in it. You're still breathing. Yeah, you will take care of what needs to be taken care of a couple of minutes later, right? Like you're upset over somebody sliding the window up and down. So why'd you do that? I need it open. You need it open. What? You're right. Something is triggering you. So go to the bathroom. Down-regulate. That going to the bathroom is going to ground you. So even if you don't need to, you're going to have a drop over there, 2-3 drops. And that activity in itself is going to ground you. Yeah, because your thoughts are going to go all the way down to what you're doing. That it's automatic grounding. That's why it's the bathroom. Yeah. And then you can have the discussion about, see, I'm upset about, there was nothing wrong with the window, but I'm upset about something you said to me 3 days ago. Well, yes, this is the time to talk about it. Something that's happened 3 days ago, somebody did something, somebody said something, somebody didn't do something, because now you are somewhat detached from that experience and you can have a decent conversation about it.
Bless you.
Mm-hmm. So I think that should suffice all of this emotional regulation and learning how to manage the emotions. I'm not seeing any questions sent right now. Let me check a few places. Oh yeah, somebody sent a question. What if the bathroom is occupied and I can't go to the bathroom? Well, if you live in a household that has only one bathroom, I don't know, drink a glass of water. Drink a glass of water. That will also help ground you. Yeah, and drink it slow. Yeah, and let it be cold. It'll cool you. Something that is simple and it's automatic. Count your breath. reframe, drink a glass of water, and then you can, maybe just touch. You can do a little bit of anchor. Touch something, that you would see me like this quite often, or something like this quite often. That's something I do often. So I don't know whatever it is this just terms or this, whatever terms you would have for that, and then you will see me do something like this quite often. It grounds me. So pinch a little bit, pinch something, squeeze your cheeks. That will ground you really quick. You can squeeze your cheek when you're very upset. Squeeze your cheeks. Mm-hmm. And I think that would do it for tonight on emotional regulation and a few techniques. Something very simple. And then if you need something more, if none of this works, and if they never work, which is never, is not right, because sometimes they will work. And we're not looking to eliminate that emotion, we're looking to manage it, then definitely come and see us. There are more other different techniques. And with hypnosis, there's something very powerful that we get to do in hypnosis. Is something called regression. We, in a state of very relaxed, your body is going to be very relaxed. In hypnosis, you don't have an emotional arousal, or if you have it, it's something so minimal. And in hypnosis, we have the capacity to take you to visit the root of that emotion and have regression, and then have you not necessarily visit, because it might not sound good for a lot of people if I say visit, but yes, you can look at the root of that emotion and see what exactly bothers you more and more and more, things that might be subconscious, because if there is a trigger, there's something that's you triggered, that's your subconscious, that's a reactionary mode. And hypnosis can definitely help you with that. And then you bring that to consciousness and you resolve it during the hypnosis session. A lot of miracles happen. With that. Then all of a sudden you realize that, oh, this is what happened then, and then that's why I react, that's why I have this trigger, and then all of a sudden it begins to fall away. And it's wonderful. It's just wonderful to see that. And then even after a couple of, if all we do with hypnosis is working on one particular emotion, a lot of people want to work with that, with their snapping. When they snap, why do they snap? So in a case, I'm working with a lot of clients that want to resolve their snapping habits. With a snapping, there's something that has happened repetitively. That can be trauma, or that can be something unresolved. It doesn't have to be a trauma. That we can work with that, and then all of a sudden you find yourself not snapping. And I have a client right now that she's progressing so beautifully, progressing very well, that she is able to have the thoughts that would take her into an emotional intensity, but then she's able to keep these thoughts at bay. And these are the judgmental thoughts. These are the ruminating thoughts. These are the automatic negative thoughts, that it shouldn't be, and because of this, and he did this, and all of the reasons and all of the judgment. Yeah, she is able at this point to just not engage with those thoughts. How miraculous is that? That's quite amazing. Quite amazing. All right, Randy, do you want to add something?
No, I think that's good.
All right. Good. All right, so that was emotional regulation for tonight. Thank you very much, and we will see you next time. Good night.